let's in fact we will take a look at the ships that have in fact crossed the Strait of Hormuz, because we will give you an overview of what is actually happening on the ground. Like Mr. Jain pointed out that India does have strategic reserves, they can last for around 2 to 3 months. So, let us look at the number of ships. We have informed you that there are around 7 ships that have managed to cross the Strait of Hormuz because of our diplomatic efforts. Let us now look at what those ships were carrying. So, let us look at the ship number 1 that has in fact arrived, Shivalik. It is a LPG tanker. It arrived on 16th March 2026 and it had a capacity of 46,000 metric tons of LPG. So, we had around 46,000 metric tons of LPG come in March first week as well. Then came in the Jag Ladki, which is a crude oil tanker. So, this arrived on 18th March 2026 and the capacity was around 80,886 metric tons of crude oil. So, we do, apart from LPG, we do have a crude oil container also in fact make it through safely through the Strait of Hormuz. So, this was the second ship that has been able to cross the strategically important waterway over there. Let us also look at the third one, which was Nanda Devi. This was again an LPG carrier. It arrived on 17th March 2026 and the capacity was around 46,500 metric tons of LPG. So, this is another win for India. Nanda Devi, obviously LPG crisis is something that people have been highlighting, but we have been able to mitigate that. Then fourth ship is Pine Gas. It was again an LPG carrier. It arrived on April the 2nd and the capacity is around 58,585 metric tons. So, Pine Gas also managed to get us some more relief and get in those LPG fuel. Then we have Jag Vasant, which is another LPG carrier. It arrived on March 28th and the capacity was around 54,490 metric tons. So, we have been managing to get almost every week an LPG tanker come and give us certain fuel. Let us also look at a BW Tire, which is another LPG carrier. It arrived on March 31st and it has a massive capacity of 94,000 metric tons. So, we are seeing that every day, almost every week, we are seeing LPG tankers come in to India. We are managing to make them exit the Strait of Hormuz safely. Let us also look at number 7, which is BW Elm, which is an LPG carrier. It arrived on April the 1st. The capacity again massive, 94,000 metric tons of LPG. So, we are getting the supplies, like our economists pointed out that we do rely on the Strait of Hormuz for better supply of fuel and oil, and we are managing to do that. Let us look at number 8, which is Green Sanvi. So, this is on the way. This will arrive very soon in India. This is again an LPG carrier. It is en route and the capacity is around 46,650 metric tons. So, we have around 7 ships which have already made their way to India, which are already mitigating all the effects of the fuel and the LPG crisis that the Indian public can feel, and we have the 8th one still coming on the way. Now, let us look at some of the ships that are still stranded on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz, which is on the left side. So, let us in the Persian Gulf. So, let us look at the type, the LPG carriers. We have LNG tankers, crude oil tankers, chemical carrying ships and other commercial ships. So, we have 5 types of ships that are still stranded, from LPG to oil to commercial, that are still stranded, and the total number comes out to be around 18 and a total crew of 485. So, apart from resources, let us also talk about the human value, because there are around 485 crew members that are still on those ships that are supposed to make their way back to India. let me go across to Mr. Anil Jain back on this discussion. Mr. Anil Jain, obviously, like we have been telling our viewers, and you also have mentioned that India does have some amount of strategic reserve. They can last for around 2 months, or 3 months per se, but we are seeing almost a weekly flow of tankers coming to India, sir. Do you think that will help us going forward as well? Because military analysts and experts are saying that the war will continue for a longer duration of time. So do you believe that we have managed to mitigate that kind of effect for the time being and for the time to come?
Well, I'm sorry, I would like to correct you that India does not have reserves for 3 months. It is about 3 weeks only.
Okay. Yes.
So let's correct it, and we have reserves. Unlike China, China has a reserves for almost 6 months. Vietnam has for 6 months. Our reserves are for much lesser period. So we have to be continuously on a hunt for this petrochemical products, and from different sources, whether it is Russia or South America, and definitely government is doing really hard work, and we are successful also in finding new sources for oil supplies. Recently, I understand Government of India has also executed a contract with Argentinian government to deliver LPG and other petrochemical products. So I am sure that Government of India will be able to continue with the supplies to provide the required supplies. There will not be any shortages, etc. However, we should not be overconfident also. I must say that we should be careful while using this petrochemical project. Government must come out with certain regulations which restrict uses, the availability is diligently applied, whatever petrochemical products are. So let's hope, and particularly since the war is not expected to be over, as you also said, and we have seen the history of wars, whether it is Vietnam War, which went on for 20 years, Korea War, or Kuwait War, or Iran, Iraq War, that all these wars were fought for several years, more than 5 years, including First World War, Second World War. All these wars lasted for almost 5 years. So I don't see, and particularly the problem is that Iran has lost the political leadership, probably, where one could clearly negotiate. It appears that negotiations are very difficult with Iran, because there is no clear political leadership available where you can discuss for the entire Iran. And the army, their army is now decentralized. The authorities have been decentralized. So very difficult that who will give the order, who is handling. Now there is a total confusion in Iran about how to, there is no discipline in the army, probably. And that is why this war is also prolonged in spite of the serious efforts by the America and Israel. They are looking forward to somehow or other stop this conflict. They are talking about the on the table dialogue, but then there is no positive response coming from Iran. And probably the reason is that somewhere there is a lack of political leadership. There is strong political leadership in spite of the president of Iran making certain resolutions, certain statements. But I am not sure whether those statements are supported by people down the line, the military down the line, and decentralized military authorities, etc. But let us hope that this petrochemical product for India is not going to be very serious. The government is definitely vigilant about it, is working hard on this subject, and we will be able to sail through.
Right.
And we are very fortunate that the petrol prices are not increasing in India, whereas
Right.
in the whole of the world, petrochemical prices have gone up, including America. And
Absolutely.
Pakistan, we yesterday saw that the petrochemical prices reached to 458 rupees a liter.
Absolutely.
definitely in a
All
better
right.
position.